Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Chakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and salutation and much love to the Akim out there, pushing out his word in truth and sincerity. Okay. There you go. So, breaking news. War is coming, all right? World war is coming, and it's going to be all over the world. All right, it's going to be in the Middle East. It's already in Eastern Europe. All right, it's going to be in Asia. It's going to be in South America. So, hey, and also a war is coming here in America. Civil war, civil unrest, insurrection. Let's get a real quick revelation, and then I got some videos I'm gonna play because this is breaking news, fresh off the press. All right, America is about to attack, Lord's will this week, Venezuela, allegedly. The second, Revelation 11:14, the second woe is passing. Behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Yeah, again, World War III. So let me just play this video. Breaking news: U.S. poised to strike military targets in Venezuela. So let's go ahead and play this real quick. Just let it play, and then just make a quick video.
We're back with some breaking news. New reporting this morning that the U.S. is preparing to strike targets inside Venezuela. Major escalation against the Maduro regime. And this is according to the Miami Herald, which has sources with knowledge of the situation telling the paper the Trump administration has decided to attack military installations inside Venezuela, and they could come at any time. That is, House members from both sides of the aisle say they were left with more questions than answers after a classified briefing yesterday on the administration's strikes on alleged drug boats.
There were not very good answers as to what is the standard, what is occurring. Lawyers were supposed to be in the room. They were not. People were very frustrated in the information that is being provided.
So pretty much this is the Trump King of Babylon, Nero. All right. He's saying he don't give a shit what the Congress people got to say, what the senators got. He don't care. He's just going to do what he wants. This is that cruel Lord, that fierce king. All right. And Esau knows his time is running out. America knows their time is running out, so they have to push. All right, they can't. What's it called? They can't just sit back anymore. They got to be the bully or the hammer of the earth, as the scriptures say. But we also know that say, how is the hammer of the earth broken down? So this place is done. Okay, and so if America does this, which Lord's will they do, get involved. Well, Lord's will, this stirs more tension up with Russia and China, which also have interest in Venezuela. Iran as well. And Iran has said recently that they're willing to go, they're readying up to go for another round with Israel. And we already know, the B-2 bomber that America sent out hit Iran. So all this is just more escalation to this third woe that's coming, okay? And again, it's also war in America, as I'm going to show you another video. All right, pursuing the second Ezra 16 and 70 on down. All right, the insurrection is coming. They're coming like madmen, as you're going to see in the next video. So hey, we close. All right, we're going to see tomorrow what happens with this whole November 1. The government shut down, no food stamps. Things are getting heated, okay? The Lord is speeding up the days for his elect's sakes. He's shortening the days for his elect's sake, okay? Let me get that real quick and then I'll keep playing the video because these are end time prophecies that we're witnessing, okay? Let's see here. First, which one is it? It's like it. And Matthew 24 and 21. For then shall be great tribulation, and that's what's taking place, man. Great tribulation, and it's going to keep escalating. It's going to get a lot worse. All right, the time of Jacob's trouble, a time like no other, and ultimately the thermonuclear destruction. Pastor Hard just put up a video. I forgot when it was, but Moab or China, they say that if America strikes first, goes to a war with them, he said they gonna send them. The missile called 61, all right, and it carried 60 nuclear warheads and one hydrogen bomb. So it says such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened. Okay. Should be shortened. There should no flesh be flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So the Lord's speeding things up, man. All right, so let's go back to this. Breaking news.
Am I leaving satisfied? Absolutely not. They just said that they can't answer these questions because the lawyers aren't here. They canceled having the lawyers here.
Are you hearing from the right people?
Since early September, at least 61 people have been killed in 14 known strikes in the Caribbean and the Pacific. For more on this, let's bring in MSNBC senior national.
And also, they just send warships. Well, I think they're going to discuss it in here. They send warships to, and air carriers to Trinidad, Tobago, which is literally 10 kilometers, okay, from Venezuela, and they've stationed tons, all right, of fighter jets, stealth fighters, spy planes in Puerto Rico and their military bases. So hey, things are about to boil over.
Security reporter David Rode and retired commander of the United States Army Europe, Lieutenant General Mark Hertling. So David, starting on this new reporting from the Miami Herald, as well as the Wall Street Journal, that the administration is eyeing targets inside Venezuela to go from boats to land. How significant is this?
It's very significant. We're trying to confirm it independently. We don't have that yet. But this is a big step forward in terms of the War Powers Act. And I just looked this up. Section 3 of the War Powers Act says that the president, in every possible instance, shall consult Congress for introducing U.S. forces into imminent hostilities. And so what?
Yeah, Trump doesn't give a shit about none of that. He don't care about the Constitution. He don't care about the war acts. He don't care. He's gonna do what he want to do because the Lord, the Spirit of the Lord is on him to bring Babylon to his knees. It's over, man. The lights are on and it's time to go home.
What the Miami Herald and the Journal reporting said these would be
There you go, Nero. Again, he don't care what the senators and Congress people got to say. He ain't asking them for permission for a damn thing.
by U.S. forces on Venezuelan military facilities. Venezuela has anti-aircraft systems, so this is much more.
Yeah. Venezuela has anti-aircraft systems. They have fighter jets from Russia. All right. They have Iranian drones. So, hey, we want to see what's about to go down. And this is not just going to be the only war America's fighting. So, hey, you men out there that think this is a game, you better get ready to go to war. That's what's coming. Let's go to the second Ezra. What is this? 16 verse. Draft is coming. And all you retards that signed up for that 50K for ICE, guess what? Now you're gonna have to go fight. It ain't gonna be just grabbing Mexicans up anymore. Now you're gonna have to go to war. All right, because once the Middle East explodes with a war, all right, and this whole situation, yeah, the troops are gonna start dying. All right, it says look what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. They doing the conscription already. They've been doing it. Well, verse 33 says, the virgin shall mourn having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the wars, okay, multiple wars, World War, the third woe, they say, shall their bridegrooms be destroyed and their husbands shall perish with famine. So men are about to start disappearing off of these streets. And instead of ICE coming to get Mexicans, a little Pablo that works at a taco truck, they're going to start, the unmarked white vans are going to start picking up random American citizens and send your ass to war.
More serious thing than these strikes that have been happening on boats that don't really threaten U.S. forces. So we'll have to see what's happening. We'll keep pushing our sources as well. And we're reaching out to people on the Hill. And as far as I've been able to learn, members of the Hill, at least one has told me that they have not been informed of any kind of imminent strike. That doesn't mean they're not happening. They're just saying they haven't heard much information from the administration.
General sources with knowledge of the situation are telling the Miami Herald these strikes could come at any time. What's your reaction to this potential escalation?
First of all, and what I'd talk about, and David's talking about the immediate strikes, what I'm more interested in as a military guy is what are the strategic objectives? What's the end state? What's the administration clearly defining as?
Well, they want the oil. What else the fuck they want in Venezuela? They want regime change, just like they did in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya. It's the same playbook. All right, they want to get rid of Maduro, and also Cuba is directly tied to Venezuela, okay, because of the oil. So they take Venezuela and set up a puppet, okay, that retarded woman that just won the Nobel Peace Prize. All right, she's supposedly the opposition in America. She's loves, yeah, whatever. The whole they just want, they wanted to get back into that oil because they were cut off. All right, they were making millions, or millions, probably trillions off of that oil in Venezuela. But now, since those big corporations that are Americans, all right, the shareholders of Americans, they're no longer able to, get money out of there. So we got to get back in there somehow, and that's what they always say, the same playbook. But then they say that about Gaddafi. Oh, he's killing his people. They blame the narcos. Really? You blowing boats, fishing boats out of the seas, and now you're gonna start striking military bases. Yeah, come on, man. We know where this is headed. And just like in Iraq and Afghanistan, the Americans will die. Well, you think just could see the videos they've been showing of Venezuelans? Oh, look, they're just a bunch of fishermen and farmers with AK-47s. No. Those are people that are willing to die to defend their country, average citizens. Venezuela has a military, obviously not as big and most powerful military on the planet, but nonetheless, like the retired general said, they have anti-defense missile systems. All right, they got jets. They have a military, but they just keep showing random citizens. Hey, the average American citizen wouldn't take up a gun and defend their country. That's for damn sure. If it was invaded, they'd be cowering in the corner. At least the fishermen in Venezuela willing to fight and die, But Venezuela has a military, man. They're not a third world country like they make it seem. Russia, China, Iran, again, have interest inside of Venezuela. Hell, when they tried to overthrow Maduro last time, right, with the coup they attempted, what happened? Russia sent in troops. You don't think they train people over there? You don't think they still have agents, intelligence officers over there? So we'll see if they're going to get involved. Which the scriptures do say that Russia going to be a guard onto these nations, not only in the Middle East. So we'll see.
Mission success in this? Is it just to bomb targets, or is there something related to that? Secondly, how does this campaign, if you will, if they describe it as such, challenge broader U.S. national defense interest in the Western Hemisphere? How are they coordinating with other countries in the region? A strike against Venezuela is certainly going to affect countries like Colombia, Honduras, Guatemala, Mexico. And have they assessed the second and third order effects of a major naval air strike capability against Venezuela, against not only the other countries in the region, but what does that end state look like? And is there a difference between what they're claiming is counter-narcotic operations, that was the original take they mentioned, versus what appears to be either a destruction of the Venezuelan military or first strikes and an attempt to regime change? So that's just a small portion of the questions I would have as a military guy, and saying, are there other people reining this in? You get into the legal ramifications, like David just said, and what's in the War Powers Act. You also get into operational transparency. The American public have a right to know about this, and that's why Congress is so interested, and they've been pushed aside on every request for what is happening in terms of the targeting of these boats. Anna, the questions are endless,
Yeah.
and I don't think the Trump White House has answered any of them.
I mean, there have been now at least a couple of briefings that we're aware of, but David, we heard from those lawmakers say there is still a major lack of transparency, that they aren't getting their questions answered, in part because they aren't able to ask the right people their questions. Who should be given these briefings, and who should be part of these briefings from the administrative side?
But Trump don't give a shit about none of them niggas getting briefed on what he gonna do. He gonna do it anyway. And he gonna do it on you Americans as well. You think they just killing random, they just gonna start killing random Americans shit.
Well, one basic thing would be, usually these are more intelligence focused, but the Gang of Eight in Congress gets to know before there's any major operation. There's maybe some gray area in terms of the military, but those would be the chairs of the House and Senate Intelligence Committees, and the ranking members and the Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader in the Senate would be informed of this. And, we'll have to see if they've heard about this. And the questions that the general's asking are the right ones. Like, what is the long-term strategy here Again, I spoke with folks on Capitol Hill, and they've gotten no sense from the administration about what their long-term goal is. When the U.S. invaded Panama, that's the only comparable thing that was to topple Manuel Noriega.
And remember what they did in Panama. All right, you gotta check out the Panama Deception. All right, they got that was decades ago, and they had laser weapons using them over there. And what do you think they got now? Shit, they gonna start using it on everybody, including American citizens.
There were tens of thousands of U.S. ground troops, if I remember correctly, sent into Panama. So this would be
Yeah, and they're talking about, again, they have amphibious vehicles out there off of the coast of Puerto Rico. All right, and probably at this point even closer. Okay, so they will, if they strike, make an airstrike. What do you think's next? They're gonna put boots on the ground and start slaying people. See, Esau, he know he had but a short time. He going out with guns blazing. And Babylon the Great, they're gonna go out guns blazing and ultimately be burned. All right, thermonuclear destruction. So these things are happening because the whole world is about to hate America, even America's own allies. This is just all leading to the end of Babylon. The place is finished.
direct strikes. I mean, you could argue it's an act of war on Venezuelan military.
It's exactly what it
So
is.
The administration says they're used for drug trafficking. I'm not, again, sure if evidence.
Yeah, they're using military bases to traffic drugs. That's what they're saying. Look at this nigga. It's like, hey, war is coming.
On Venezuelan military facilities. The administration says they're used for drug trafficking. I'm not, again, sure if evidence been presented of that. But if they strike a Venezuelan military facility, that is an act of war.
And as a layman, that's where my head went. Like, is this the U.S. declaring war? General, as we talk about the questions that need to be answered, on the House side, we heard the briefing wasn't good enough, but at least it was a bipartisan briefing. On the Senate side, some Democrats say they were cut out of the briefing entirely. Take a listen.
If you're sitting in this room getting clearly, but been prior Gang of 8 level classified information, didn't somebody raise their hand and say, well, holy crap, we're the Democrats? Who was willing to say, isn't there a constitutional obligation here?
And this is it's causing political turmoil. You got the Democrats against the Republicans. Oh, this America's a shithole, man. It's just completely everywhere you look at it, every which way you want to look at it, it's falling. The economy's through. The government's currently shut down. All right, they're about to go to war. How are they getting all this money to do these things? First of all, right? But they ain't got no money to feed the people.
It is about separation of powers, doesn't it? For the folks who wave their constitution around, read the damn thing. And then explain why you would sit through that briefing and not.
You can use that Constitution and wipe your ass with it, because that's what it's good for. Toilet paper.
General, what red flags does it raise to just brief one party?
Oh, it's off the chart. And here's what I think the senator is getting at, is not only are they not getting the intelligence they need to commit to potentially an authorization for use of military force, but I'm going to take it down to my level. You're putting American men and women, their soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, in harm's way. And
I believe it was the man George Soros that said it. American soldiers are just dumb pawns. They don't give a shit about you.
the nation needs to understand why that's happening. And the question you asked earlier is who should be giving these briefings? Well, I don't know who was in the room providing them. The lawyers are certainly a part of it, but I think it should.
So they just send a warship over here, right there, to Trinidad, Tobago, Puerto Rico, full of military shit. Boats just floating around, military vehicles or military vessels. You don't send that much. They send the biggest aircraft carrier over there. They're not doing that for no reason.
Should be not only the president or the vice president, the secretary of state, the intelligence community, as David said, the secretary of defense, the chairman of the joint staff, and the person who has to execute the briefing is the Southcom commander, which we know right now that's an interim commander because Admiral Halsey retired just a few days ago, or offered his retirement because he had contention with some of the things that were going on down there. So you're seeing probably a couple of people push these strikes at the behest of the president when you're putting men and women in harm's way, and that's just not the right way to go to war. You know, David mentioned Operation Just Cause in 1989 when we went in and took out a leader of a drug cartel who was also the head of government, Manuel Noriega. That took literally weeks to determine. There was great planning. There was intelligence sharing between the Pentagon, the State Department, and the Congress. And this seems to be rather haphazard and almost covert on the part of the government in terms of what they're about to do.
And I know you have so much experience from those days. Lieutenant General, you have a book coming out too, right? Remind us what that's called.
All right, let's go to another video. So it's pretty much the same stuff, but different and this is a good video if you want to understand. This guy goes into it, the actual reasons why America wants Venezuela, but that's like 25 minutes. So just look it up. It's a good watch. This one's from the.
The Caribbean is turning into a battlefield, it seems. President Trump is reportedly preparing military strikes against Venezuela, targeting bases tied to the booming cocaine trade. Maduro calls it an act of aggression. Washington calls it a message of power. Our next report getting you the latest.
Storm brews off the coast of South America. The Trump administration is gearing up for possible airstrikes on Venezuelan military facilities, U.S. officials confirmed to the Wall Street Journal. According to the U.S., these sites are allegedly used to smuggle cocaine. The move marks a dangerous...
See that? At the bottom it said they have deployed 10,000 troops, 7 ships, and a nuclear submarine.
The move marks a dangerous new phase in America's confrontation with President Nicolas Maduro's regime, long accused by the Trump administration of running a...
See that they always throw that word in their regime when they want to take the nigga out. When he's not playing ball with America, then you know he's a murderer. He kills his own people. He's a narco. You know, he's a terrorist. Everyone on the planet can be a terrorist except for America.
narco state that floods U.S. streets with drugs. Intelligence reports say Pentagon has identified targets include airstrips, radar bases, and naval depots in western Venezuela. In the last few days, the tension has escalated sharply. The timing is explosive. American destroyers and aircraft carrier have deployed across the Caribbean in the largest anti-narcotics military operation in decades. Then came the strikes. Swift.
See, you see that? That's how they're gonna pull up. Run that back. That's how they're gonna pull
across
up
the Caribbean in the largest anti-narcotics military.
and then them soldiers gonna start popping out and with different vehicles and on foot. Start blasting. There you go. Right there. You see them trucks, they got all kind of military. They just gonna pull up to the beach. But again, Venezuela has a military, so it ain't just gonna be America just gonna come in there and Maduro gonna be gone tomorrow. They're gonna be fighting. Right? They over there in Puerto Rico. This is in Puerto Rico practicing how to pull up. America ain't done it in a while. They ain't pulled up on a country like that in a couple, in some time. But they will soon.
Then came the strikes. Swift, lethal, devastating. U.S. Navy assets patrolling the Caribbean blew up 4 suspected drug boats, killing 14 on board. Caracas retaliated with fiery claims saying Venezuelan air defenses shot down 3 drug planes near the Colombian border. Back in U.S., Congress fumes with a push to limit Trump's unchecked war powers. Critics slam the legality of these strikes, warning they flout international law, inviting chaos. Supporters insist the strikes cut off poison flowing into America.
Well, even what is his name, Stephen Miller or something like that. He slipped up on live TV and pretty much said that Trump has unquestionable or authority, pretty much unchecked, like the guy just said.
And destruction of narco-terrorist empire in Venezuela. Until now, the fury of U.S. intervention remained focused offshore. But with American fighter jets, destroyers, and special forces massing, a land assault is only one spark away. Maduro is vowing resistance. Trump moves his pieces relentlessly, signaling decisive moves that could topple Venezuela's regime at any cost. Bureau report, Beyond World is One.
All right. So, next, again, that's not just going to be America's about to declare war, or they've actually already have on its own citizens, chiefly you Israelites. So that's what ICE is all about. 2 Ezra 16 and verse 70 says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord." So ultimately, this is talking about all the Israelites, but really they want the elect, the ones that don't bend the knee to them. But they're coming for all of the Israelites. I don't give a shit. Esau hates you. All right. And he's going to show you that if you forgot that the devil hates you, then you're going to know it when they put a foot up your ass. All right. For all you Stockholm Syndrome Israelites out there. Let me read down the GNT, see what it says there. 2 Ezra 16 and verse 670. That's right, 70. It says, "In many places near the cities, there will be violent persecution against those who fear the Lord." Yeah, the people of the Lord, ultimately. but what ultimately they want to come for the prophets of the Lord, but they're gonna come for all of the Israelites because he hates you. He has a pure hatred. You know, Esau has a perpetual hatred for you Israelites. It says verse 71, the attackers will act like wild people. And I'm about to show you who the attackers are. Let's run it back. Or let's go back. Let's see here. Here it goes. More breaking news.
Condemnation of chaotic and violent arrests.
They're gonna show you plenty of these violent attackers real soon. It says the attackers will act like wild people, and they will plunder and destroy without pity all those who still fear the Lord. They will turn them out of their homes and take away all their possessions. This will be the time of testing for my chosen people, and they will prove to be as pure as refined gold. Yeah, the elect will be, but the rest of them they're going to be taken in this. Let's go back. Hold on, let me read that. Verse 72, in the King James, it says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. And tell me they ain't doing that.
Confrontations with residents.
I've sent a letter to Kristi Noem and to the Department of Homeland Security leadership asking them to pause all of their federal agent operations for the entirety of the Halloween weekend.
The hell with Halloween. I hope the ICE and National Guard comes and beats the shit out of you 2/3 on Halloween as you trick-or-treating with your kids. All right? You're leading your kids to the slaughter. You out there tonight. Looking for some. Then they say don't take candy from a stranger, but every year you're gonna go let your kids get candy from strangers. This place is finished, man. And again, the Trump administration don't give a shit about you senators, you mayors. Okay, they're gonna do what they want to do. They want to go to war with Venezuela. They're gonna do it. If they want to put a foot up your ass in your own cities, they're gonna do it. And they got the proof on camera. In the year 2025, it's all live.
I'm asking for basic human decency. I think their response will be revealing. They've disrupted everything for more than 2 months already. Give the children and the families of Illinois a break.
Governor.
Fuck them the only ones we praying for is for the elect. Are those little YNs and the little monsters that the single moms are raising? They need these insurrection people, or AKA ICE and National Guard. And they're gonna go into this video. Now they bringing in what's it called? Border Patrol to take over. And them real racist crackers.
Governor Pritzker also wrote in a letter to Noem, quote, no child should be forced to inhale tear gas or other chemical agents while trick-or-treating in their own neighborhood. But on Thursday, DHS Secretary Noem rejected. See
now they just shooting people with tear gas and rubber bullets, maybe some paintballs. Very soon, these are going to be fully automatic rifles ringing out, blowing holes of Swiss cheese into people.
Speaking from Gary, Indiana.
Absolutely not willing to put on pause any work that we will do to keep communities safe. The fact that Governor Pritzker is asking for that is shameful. And I think unfortunate that he doesn't recognize how important the work is that we do to make sure we're bringing criminals to justice and getting them off our streets.
This comes as a federal judge Thursday ordered the person at the center of much of Chicago's enforcement, Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino, to appear for a deposition to explain federal agents' use of tear gas and other less lethal weapons against protesters who've taken to the streets to oppose the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Meanwhile, Homeland Security Secretary...
Yeah, see, and these Edomites that out there marching for you, you think they are out there for you? Okay. You're going to see real soon that they don't even give a shit about you when they shit. When no food in their fridge, oh, okay, we'll see if they're going to go protect you.
Kristi Noem's replacing ICE leadership at half the country's field offices with Border Patrol officials in regions where President Trump's demanding more immigration raids and arrests. In recent weeks, Sands reported the Trump administration plans to build a new network of mass immigration jails that can...
Some of you shall be cast into prison 10 days, right? But so the Lord, they out here building concentration camps for you people. What was it? Well, the Lord's going to be with his elect. So wait, wrong chapter. We'll get this in Revelation 2 and 10. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, hold on, let me show you. Here you go. That's the devil. The devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days, but be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So the Lord's going to be with his elect. All right. This is the time of Jacob's trouble, man. It's going to get a lot worse. These devils, they don't give a shit about you, and they're showing you that they don't.
Raids and arrests. In recent weeks, CNN's reported the Trump administration plans to build a new network of mass immigration jails that can hold up to 100,000 prisoners by funneling
You hear that? That's what they preparing for you people.
billions of dollars through the Navy to help
They got billions for this. They got not 3 cents for your ass.
facilitate the construction. To talk about this and more, we're joined in Washington, D.C. by Aaron Reichlin-Melnick, Senior Fellow at the American Immigration Council. Welcome back to Democracy Now!, Aaron. Let's start with the plea from the Illinois governor, Jay.
And again, these are the ones that they're pouring billions of dollars, like she just said. They're set up to do what? Be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Well, didn't that happen in Chicago, where they took the whole damn apartment complex in the wee hours of the morning?
Pritzker, not tear gas children while they're trick-or-treating. And the Homeland Security,
Hold on. Fuck them kids. Whoever perished being innocent, huh? What was I about to get? Oh, okay, Ezekiel. Nope. Ezekiel. Lord ain't having sparing none of you wicked Israelites. Ezekiel 9:4. It says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, with Israelites, right, and set a mark upon the foreheads, and not the chit. All right, this is a spiritual mark that's going to have the elect exempt from the judgments. Okay, it says mark upon the foreheads of the men that side, and ultimately the thermonuclear destruction. That's he that endured to the end, the saints shall be saved. It says, in that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. See, these people weren't crying out for the abominations. All right, these people getting beat up by these madmen. All right, it says, and to the others he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. And that's the spirit of the Lord got on these ICE agents and these different agencies that are beating people up in the streets. It says, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. Yeah, you're gonna see in this video later in this video, they fucking beating the shit out of some Latino woman. All right. And again, little kids, they're gonna get it too. Tear gas, shot. All of it. It says, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So let's keep going.
Secretary's response.
Yeah, what I think you see here is that Secretary Noem wants these mass deportation operations to keep going, no matter the consequences, no matter the day, no matter the disruption that it has on American communities. And they are more and more aggressive as they expand the workforce and really try to make Chicago an example for the country so that people understand what is coming to other cities throughout the Trump administration.
You heard him. He didn't stutter. He says coming to all the other cities or other cities. Hey, a city near you is going to be under martial law very soon.
About what's happening, for example, right now in Chicago, and particularly talk about what it means that Border Patrol is replacing ICE at about half the field offices across the United States, and what exactly that means, and how Bovino, the head of CBP, has been called before a judge and another hearing next week.
Yeah, well, I think what it means is that the administration wants enforcement on the streets, immigration enforcement, to look more like what is happening in Chicago. Commander Bovino, Chief Bovino, has been the one in charge of the Los Angeles raids. Then he was moved to Chicago. He's in charge.
Remember, they're having these people sign up, giving them $50K bonus, signing fee, or sign up bonus. You know, hell, even some Jakes you see that's working for ICE, masked up and shit.
Charge of the Chicago raids, and that style of aggressive militarized enforcement is something that the Trump administration loves because it plays very well for them among their base. You even see that they often bring videographers to these arrest operations themselves, masked and in camouflage uniform.
This is the American Gestapo, masked up like a thug.
so that they can capture it and post these videos on social media. And the Trump administration believes that that kind of enforcement is the model that they want to pursue because it lets them give this perception to their base that they are being more aggressive than ever before, than any previous administration, even than ICE itself was doing.
If you can talk about specifically how unusual it is, while the judge has stopped this for the moment, that the judge in Bovino's case said she wanted him to report to her every day. That's not at the moment happening, but the issue of body cam and what is causing Judge Ellis's response.
Yeah, so Judge Ellis is presiding over a case about the use of riot control munitions, things like tear spray or pepper balls, aggressive munitions that are used to disrupt civil unrest. And what they found here is that despite
Civil unrest. Second Ezra 15 and 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, that's the insurrection, all right, civil unrest, sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. See, so while they planning to go to war with Venezuela, there's going to be a war right here in America. All right. A man shall desire to go to a city and shall not be able. See, because they're going to use these National Guards and these different agencies to police you people. All right. Under martial law very soon. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So that's what's coming, man. That's what's happening. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. See, and then it's going to get so bad that the people out here protesting together, they're going to start fighting each other. All right? Because when there ain't no food, we'll see how much you people want to band together for a protest, or the No Kings protest. We'll see. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Oh, and men shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. The Lord just warming up. Shit about to get nasty out here.
An order requiring ICE and the DHS and the Border Patrol, basically any component of this federal operation, to give people warnings before deploying riot control munitions, that it does appear that they are not doing that. Or at least certainly
that's a woman. You threw that bitch on the ground. Where's your rights? You thought he was equal to a man. Well, there you go. Get out the armbar.
not following the court order as she has wanted them to do. And so she called Bovino in because he is the one in charge of this operation. And she really said, you need to get a control of your officers, and said, I want to see you back in court every single day to talk about what's going on. Now, the Seventh Circuit has temporarily put a hold on that order, but it may go into effect once that case has a chance to be briefed by the Seventh Circuit.
And I wanted to ask you about CNN's report that the Department of Homeland Security is funneling $10 billion to the Navy in order to construct a sprawling network of migrant detention centers nationwide.
They call it detention centers. We call it concentration camps.
The states expected to have these jails built in them: Louisiana, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Utah, and Kansas. Each of these immigration jails would hold up to 10,000
And they already got a few out here in Florida.
people, 100,000 overall, an expedited building of these jails.
Yeah, this is part of the funding that came in Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. That law provided ICE $45 billion to spend on immigration detention over the next 4 years, which, when you combine...
You hear that? And they said they're giving that money to the Navy to build. So these guys, these clowns that signed up to defend their country and took an oath to serve and protect the America, well, they're going to be the ones building these camps and beating you up in them.
Combine it with the annual appropriations that ICE gets through the normal budget cycle, could give ICE about $15 billion per...
And that chip is coming soon. The hour of temptation is coming soon with all this chaos happening. All right, with the no food stamps, right, the government shut down. Yeah, things are leading quickly to the MOTB.
year
to hold people in detention. And by comparison, the entire budget of the Federal Bureau of Prisons is $8.4 billion. So we're looking at nearly twice the budget of the Federal Bureau of Prisons to be used solely on immigration detention. And to spend that money in 4 years to get the system up and running quickly as possible, it means tent camps. And tent camps are something that the U.S. military has a lot of experience constructing. So we have already seen one such facility go up on Fort Bliss in El Paso.
You're a tent camp. Now, what the hell is a tent camp? Yeah. What is a tent camp? A tent camp refers to a variety of camping experiences. Okay, yeah, it's gonna be a camping experience, all right. Let me do military. A military tent camp, a temporary or semi-permanent base, often called a bivouac, where troops are housed during training or operations. So they can send a tent city up quickly. Yeah, you ain't gonna be in there comfortable. That shit is not gonna be comfortable. Okay.
Formerly known as Camp East Montana. The Trump administration calls it the Lone Star Lockup. It is set to hold 5,000 people, and they are reportedly adding about 250 beds.
And again, you think the concentration camps were comfortable? No. Look, you can house hundreds or thousands of soldiers. Yeah, sometimes with amenities. Yeah, you ain't gonna have no amenities. Shit. Tent city is a common term for these large camps, and they can also be used for other purposes, such as temporary detention facilities. There you go. It ain't gonna be temporary though. You might never leave. You might be there. If for you 2/3, you might be there when the missiles hit.
Per week, and it's already.
Or they might say, if you want to leave, you got to get a chip.
Holding more than 2,000 people, and that number is growing daily. So we are looking at a network of Camp East Montanas being built around the country in the next couple of years.
I wanted to ask you about a
ProPublica next couple of months, maybe. Shit.
A report that finds more than 170 U.S. citizens have been detained by ICE at raids and protests across the country. More than 20 citizens were held in detention without being able to contact loved ones or a lawyer. ICE agents also arrested 130 citizens, including a dozen elected officials, for allegedly interfering with or assaulting.
See, they don't give a shit if you're legal or not.
Officers. Those cases.
And Trump gave them the green light to use whatever force means necessary to get the job done.
Were dropped. This is Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem speaking during a news conference in Indiana.
There's no American citizens have been arrested or detained. We focus on those that are here illegally, and anything that you would hear or report that would be different than that is simply not true and false reporting.
Aaron Reckland-Melnick, your response.
Yeah, Secretary Noem is either ignorant of the facts or not telling the truth about the facts, because, of course, U.S. citizens have been arrested and detained by ICE. Now, sometimes that has been a deliberate arrest because a DHS officer believes the person is interfering with federal agents, but other times it's been because officers...
To recite her social security number during an immigration... Let me ask you what happened in Rockingham County, Virginia. New video shows federal agents there violently arresting a mother, driving her daughter to school.
We read in Ezekiel 9, the Lord ain't having or sparing and having pity on none of these wicked ass Israelites. All right? If you don't repent, you're gonna die.
She failed to recite her social security number during an immigration stop. Video of the incident shows the 16-year-old daughter of Jakey Funes Andrade. We're gonna pick up the sound here. Crying.
You're gonna be hearing more and more of that.
Out as the agents tackle her mother to the ground. Found here. Of the incident shows the 16-year-old daughter of Jakey Funes Andrade. We're going to pick up the sound here. Crying out as the agents tackle her mother to the ground, press her face down into the pavement, and handcuff.
There you go. You women are about to get a rude awakening.
Before the arrest, Funes Andrade reportedly showed agents her work permit, her social security card, driver's license, and car registration. But they arrested her anyway and took her to jail. What kind of recourse do people have?
Yeah, I haven't seen.
They ain't got no recourse but to repent for the kingdom of heaven at hand. So, hey, Lord's wilderness was edifying. Gonna give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders of the great millstone who rule well. Salutation, much love to the elected Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. War is coming.